Hey y'all. Welcome back to Andy's Little Homestead. Today, we're planting us a garden.
I'm planting flowers.
We didn't talk about that.
We did talk about that.
No, we didn't. Anyway, unfortunately, we got to rip out some apple tree corpses first. Last year in this beautiful field behind me, we planted a bunch of apple trees. Because sometimes I get a visit from the Good Idea Fairy who says, hey, you should drop $900 on apple trees when you got a million other things going on.
Did you just call me the Good Idea Fairy?
No. No, I didn't say that. So anyway, they all got destroyed.
Because deer are
Right, because deer are assholes, but also because I failed to plan properly and fence this and do all the things. It's my fault. That's all there is to it. I tried this one method I read about by hanging old CDs on them. Fun fact, didn't work. And as it stands right now, we've got 5 surviving apple trees. It sucks, it hurts my heart and my wallet, but I can't do anything about it now. This is the section we're gonna till up for the garden plot. So the first thing we gotta do is transplant these trees. All right, so from here on, I'm throwing out this disclaimer. I don't know much. I've read a little bit. Anything that I say and do today is really just educated guesswork. That applies to everything that we're doing today, so let's start with that. But basically, I got my holes dug. Now, apple trees actually have a real long taproot. In general, you want to dig your holes bigger than you think you need. You want to keep that root system as intact as possible when you're transplanting. But some of these taproots run down real deep. So what I did was I went deeper than I really thought I needed to, and then I just put some of that good dirt back in nice and loose so that hopefully that taproot starts taking again and everything will survive. 36 out of 36 of those trees took hold when I planted them. My inability to kill every deer in existence is inconsequential. Couple quick things to mention with that transplant. Just like when I planted them new, I want to point the graft on that in the direction of the prevailing wind. So every one of these is pointing to the southwest, just as a matter of strength. And my understanding is that apple trees need good drainage, but they're also going to need a good amount of water to get those roots to take back hold again. Luckily, we got sandy soil. The one thing that I avoided was just not having it be like in a little depression. I don't want water to collect in there up against the trunk of the tree. So last thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna spread some mulch around them. Got a little leftover straw. Keep them good in water and the roots should take hold. All right, so they're all inside the fence. Should mention, obviously 4 feet of fence isn't enough. I'm planning on adding a couple hot wires up top. That and a dog running around inside here, I think our trees will be safe. So now we gotta grab the tractor out of the pasture. We're gonna yank all those old trees out of there. Run the disc over everything. Or, you know, we would be if the goats hadn't chewed up the plug wires. Your stupid goats chewed the plug wires on my tractor.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Well,
That's goat teeth marks.
well, maybe you shouldn't have left your tractor in the pasture with them. I'm just saying.
This hasn't been a problem before. They just acquired this taste.
No, this is the first time you've really left a tractor in here.
I'm gonna leave you in here with your stupid goats. Piss me off. Ow!
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go find some plug wires. I might choke my wife out with them. I'm not sure. Haven't decided yet.
That's fair.
I'll let it go this time. Nope, that's the wrong style.
There's a bird nest in here. It's robins. There's 4 eggs.
Well, that's fun.
How do I get down?
Come on now.
Oh, jeez. Thanks.
I'm pretty sure Debbie number 2's plug wires were the right style. Well, there's the old cap. I'm pretty sure when I changed them, I just, oh, found them. Some of these probably would work. I hate you, and I hate everything you stand for. That's why I don't throw anything away. Yeah.
Is this part you're missing?
Oh, you mean the part that was chewed? The end of it has been chewed off by the demon spawn that you've infected my land with? Yeah, that's the one. And there we go. She's a bare field again. I'll be honest, y'all, it does make me a little bit sad, and there's no point in dwelling on it because, well, it was my fault. But I think it's important to take a lesson with whatever it is that comes, you know? It's not a loss if you learn something. In this case, I learned about stretching myself too thin. I tried to do too many things all at one time. Planting crops, planting an orchard, building a house, fixing my piece of trucks all the time. And each one of those things only got done marginally well. The orchard even less so. So since we're forced to start again, I'm doing a little bit different. This little section right here, from here to the chicken house, that's all I'm planting this year. If I've got some extra to sell at the road, that's great, but my primary goal is to feed my family. So this is what we're working with. So next thing we're gonna work on is a couple amendments to the soil. This is where science meets opinions and people argue with each other. But I'm gonna try and hit the high points here. I have not tested this soil. I've been told that the home tests are somewhat inaccurate, and there's no way you can convince me it's a good idea to send a sample to the government. So we're making some educated guesses. So to get to where we're going, we got to know what we got. And right now in this patch, we've got two main things: red clover and rye. The red clover is a nitrogen fixing plant, which means it puts nitrogen back into the soil. That nitrogen is likely being used by the rye. But when we turn it in and it decomposes, it's gonna have some level of fertilization for what we're growing this year. Generally speaking, decomposition makes things acidic. Big old pile of doo-doo, acid. Grass clippings, acid. Most of the crops that you plant in a vegetable garden like a slightly alkaline soil condition. So before we turn any of this in, we're gonna change the pH. We got two things that we're gonna do that with. The first is lime. There are all kinds of calculations you can use based on soil tests, what you want your pH to be at, and that'll tell you how much lime you need. In fact, it's not even a secret. They put it right there on the back. But to simplify things, 50 pounds for 1,000 square feet. Got about 4,000 square feet there, 4 bags. The other thing that we're gonna add is wood ash. Wood ash is a great way to raise the pH. In fact, wood ash is what's traditionally been used to make lye, which is very alkaline and used to make soap. It also adds potassium to the soil. But Andy, what about your manure? What about the Doo-Doo Flinger 9000? Or whatever the heck it was I called it. Well, unfortunately, a large portion of the manure I got this year is horse. Horse manure takes a long time to break down. If I spread it hot, that is uncured, I'm basically planting grass seed. So this year we're gonna try it without it. If I've got to fertilize later, I'll figure it out. So let's get some of both of them spread. All right, so we got our nice fine white powder all over the field. Now we're gonna disc it in. I don't know if I was supposed to do that before or after the disc. I'm making this up as I go. But also, fun fact, powdered lime doesn't like to go through a hand spreader. It took way too many passes. Now that's the thing I know. Fun fact, tractors need gas. Yoink. I know the jug said mixed gas. It's not mixed gas. It's just regular gas. I spray painted mix on it because I was planning on mixing it. Then as it turns out, it didn't have any 2-cycle oil. So it's just gas. And there we go. Got a nice disced up field, almost ready to plant. You know, you never really know what you're gonna find whenever you turn over a piece of dirt. And this is a very small little piece of history that is kind of mundane, but I think it's interesting. This is anthracite coal. It has no business in this field, obviously, but there's a known rail line on one section of the property, old narrow gauge rail line that served the iron works that was here 100 years ago. In fact, many of the little communities that popped up around here were logging camps, and the woods were logged out to provide fuel for the ironworks. So there's all these narrow gauge rail lines that ran through the area, and well, 100 years ago, a chunk of coal fell off of an old train, landed in my field. Not significant, but pretty cool in my book. So now we're gonna put some rows in, basically. It's nice to have a little hill built up. It helps facilitate drainage, keeps crops from getting drowned out if we get like a real bad long rainstorm. And I found it to be helpful. Now I've tried different ways to do this before. I've done it with a hoe by hand. That sucks. I made my own little custom bedding attachment. It was fun, but it didn't work as good as this. Just 2-bottom plow. And yes, I understand that normally you'd run the mold board first to turn everything over, then the disc. But the grass had only been in here for like a year, so they didn't have real deep root systems. But anyway, I've found that the mold board plow does a good job at making nice little hills to work off of. So that's what we're gonna do. Now when I hooked this up, the 3-point didn't want to lift so well, and I'm thinking and hoping that it's just a little low on hydraulic fluid. It leaks, so we'll find out. An essential part of getting dirty is clean lube. That's why you should buy a Clean Funnel. They got caps. I think this is why I don't have any sponsorships. So there we go. We got rows. They're not straight, but the great thing about a curvy row is that it, in a linear sense, it's longer, which means more crops. And they're not very pretty, but it works out well. Each one has like a little bit of a high side, and I've got a nice little furrow right there in between. That's farmer speak for trench. All I gotta do is just drop my seed in there and knock the high side on top of it. We're good to go. It's not a perfect system. I don't know if it's an accepted system, but that's what we're doing. There we go. Everything's planted in our nice, pretty little crooked rows. Got a little bit of everything out here. I put the watermelons, cantaloupes, and pumpkins out at the end so that they could, you know, vines spread out, and all the vegetables and crap in the middle. A lot of beans. Does about as good. Y'all, I've tried a few different hand planters. I've got one of them old stab and jabs. I've got one of the walk behind ones. But to be honest, when you're planting just a small garden, I like the old drop and slop method. You know, drop seed, slop the dirt over it. I just made that up. Either way, you got to be good at hoeing, which obviously I am. Make videos on the internet. So last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna plant some wildflowers over here because my wife wanted to look at them. I wasn't gonna argue. So we'll scatter them out, rake them in, and we'll be done for today. I've heard it said, and I feel it too, the smell of fresh dirt. It's just the best. And I think it's something that's primal. I think it's something that's like hardwired into us. When you put this kind of work in, it does something in your soul that says, you know what? We ain't going hungry this winter. I've had my ups and downs with gardening throughout this whole process. Like I said before, most of it has to do with trying to stretch myself too thin. I got plenty of dirt. I want to use every square inch of that dirt. But if I just end up feeding the deer that I can only shoot so many of, it doesn't really do me any favors. So we scaled it back a little bit, but I think this is gonna work out. Do plan on doing a quick and dirty electric setup around here. 6 feet high should take care of it. And we're gonna tend to it a little bit more closely, you know, keep up with the weeds and all that. And there are plenty of other methods. This basically is conventional. This is tillage, and a lot of people now are choosing to go with no-till or regenerative, but I've got plans for that too. Ideally, I'll be able to get this fenced, and I'll be able to get the other section down there fenced, and then in the off seasons, I'll be able to rotate where I let the chickens run through and use the bathroom. These are just some things that I'm bouncing around, but for right now, I'm happy. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be eating good here in a few months. I do want to give a quick shout out to Mary of Mary's Heirloom Seeds. It's a small company down in Texas. Not just for the fact that they, you know, sell seeds, but the owner of it, Mary, is clearly passionate about it. If you don't want to learn something, don't listen to me. I'm just making it up as I go. She puts out videos, does seminars on all manner of growing stuff, and somebody who's that passionate about this kind of thing deserves a support. She didn't pay me to say that. I just think she's doing a lot of good. As always, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. I love you, and God bless.
Cornflowers, zinnias, Zinnia elegans, calendula, cosmos, nigella, ibis, lupine, Siberian wallflower, baby's breath, dwarf sunflowers, which I'm pretty excited about, saponaria, coreopsis, California poppy, and clarkia. It's a lot of flowers.
But it doesn't have any trinculus or no flatulonias or nothing.
Flatulonias.
Yeah, it smells like a fart right there. They're real pretty.
Oh my gosh.
Just like me.
Oh my god. That's one way to describe you.